quest updated following the thread. I'm not sure we looked at that at all. Let's take a close look at some of our side quests, because I do think we have begun to accumulate a fair number of those. So Fist of Fury is 30. Let's see. Any of the new ones? Lord of Unvik. Okay, so it is a side quest. This is the one with his son. It's level 17, so that's a decent fit. Went. Huh? Okay. Don't remember that one, but following the thread, go to Fair on the Fair. Oh! Hold on. This was one that we started with Lambert. Okay. Now I follow you. This is also Unvik. Okay, so we definitely have some things to do there. Arenbjorn, don't think we've heard much about that place yet. And just collect them all. And is Lambert in Skellige? I thought he was going in a different place. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's just directing us toward the fast travel location, because it's like, you need to go to an entirely different area. So I don't think that's a Skellige thing. But what else does that leave us with? Then high stakes and expansion stuff. Yeah, we did start to find some Witcher contracts as well. That's not out of the question. Even some treasure hunts. Some of those are high level, yeah. But, like, level 26, that's doable. This is for Griffin School Gear. Okay, I mean, that's probably one of our lower priorities. And which island is it on? Does it tell us? Not really? Okay. So yeah, I think good to chat with you, because we did get some more useful information, yes. But let us get out of here and speak to additional people. That is locked. Now, can we get out of here? Would perhaps be the next question. For a second there, I was worried. The way she was dancing. I saw she was a captive, yes, but I was like, are your hands currently bound? And you're actually just wiggling to try to escape? Not actually dance? That would be pretty cruel. Hey, mind if I just clean up all of your alcoholic beverages here that seem to be falling on the ground? Oh yeah, don't mind me. Probably just, like, pocket one real quick, but nah.
You drink last night too?
Nilfgaard's flagship. You certain? I'm weary of hearing about it.
Hey. I mean, we did just hear that, yes, there are certainly Nilfgaardian ships, but flagship, you say? That's a little different. That's a little different. This is not really what I was looking for. This seems to be someone's room. I was looking more so for the exit, though I suppose I'll take all that stuff. That's fine. Okay, read that a bazillion times. And that. How do we escape? Is this the place where we just were? No, it is not. We'll have to check that. That could be good, but we have a pretty good saddle right now, so it may not be an upgrade. It is, yeah, it's significantly worse than what we have right now. Okay, it's still worth a reasonable amount, though it is kind of heavy. Other stuff in here, yes. Other stuff in here? Seemingly no. Oh, there's some Gwent cards! Swipe them, Geralt. Run! You saw nothing. Also, how do we get out of here? We definitely came from this direction. Hold on. How do we escape?
Without a murmur, and went hunting.
Maybe that's why the captives are here. They never found out how to leave this place. This is definitely where we just came from, right? But where is the way out? Excuse me, sir.
Not get in the way of me axe.
This is the other room without an exit in it. Is it actually through that other area? We need to be in and around the big mess hall. It did seem like there was a staircase or two that ran alongside, or actually went outside. Okay, and also, okay, yeah, just use our quest marker. That should help. That takes us out here. Okay. And let us be gone. And no, we're not actually going for Old Palace. Though we might want to use this to get back down to the other part of town. Let's take the stairs. Let's see what else we can find. Because I think this early on in the area, we don't want to skip around too much because we might miss things. Might not run into some people or little side areas that we might otherwise notice. I know we were checking this place somewhat recently though, so this should be pretty clear right here. We could try using the elevator. How exactly does it work though? Like, press the button. We're obviously not on the elevator right now. Do we need to jump on the elevator first, and but then who hits the button for us when we're on the elevator? Maybe there's a button closer by. Let's just take the very precarious-looking staircase that drops 200 feet into the ocean, the rocky ocean, and it doesn't have like a rail on the side or anything like this. This is violating like a bazillion safety rules. But yeah, what do they care about it, right? Okay, just walk very, very carefully. I don't like that you are kind of on the edge of the rocks there. Now they have a railing. Oh, we're fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. What? Seemed like there were a few different ways to enter this area, but sure. Yeah, something tells me this is going to be a very confusing area to navigate. Reminds me a bit of, what was it, in Witcher 2, is it Bergen? Another city that had a lot of elevation changes and different areas crossing over others. So you'd see a marker on your quest marker on the map, and you think, okay, I go in this general direction, right? But actually you need to change elevation first, and only then are you able to do so. Stuff like that can get a little bit confusing at times. It does not appear as though we've been in this building yet, and I will happily take your meteorite. And whatever you are hiding under this table here, maybe not as valuable, but still. What else? We go here? No, that's locked. This looks like a barber. Also think it is technically night at the moment. Oh, there you are. Which may mean that we're not able to speak to some people. They might be sleeping.
Greetings.
Don't necessarily want a haircut here, but I just want to see what else you have to say.
The gods themselves were paying their respects to the great Conung Bran.
You a tailor?
Oh, Taylor.
Only one in the Isles, most like.
Okay. You also may be able to cut our hair too, even though you're a tailor, not a barber, but let's see what you have in terms of items.
What you got?
Wise man. No common rags among my wares.
Is that true? You do have some fancy stuff. That is correct. You also have some furs. I mean, more than anything, I think this might just be an opportunity for us to offload some things, like we have some furs we want to sell, or the racing saddle that we just picked up, like this. Let's sell that. And these blinders are exactly the same as the ones we have on right now, so let's dump those. Do we have furs? Because those are heavy, usually. We have a bunch of broken rakes. Let's dump them. Yeah, we could break them down into components, but I think we have enough stuff that does the same thing, and that's a lot of glass vials, too. Mostly thinking of selling these types of things here. The pig hide. Those tend to be pretty heavy, and they're worth a little bit. Yeah, I think that stuff will start to add up a bit. You have enough coins that should be possible. And other things that are on the heavier side. might want... That is a little bit heavy, though we might want to break down the candelabrum into components. Same with the butter knives, and definitely anything silver over here. The haft, let's dump those. Yeah, and that's a surprising amount of weight that we had in just pure junk. So, not a bad idea. Offload this stuff, I think. We have almost half a unit of weight in smoking pipes. That is, I would think those would be so small that that would be a very difficult thing to do, but somehow we found a way to make it happen. Okay. I think that should pretty much do the trick here. You have 167 remaining. Is there anything else we could dump on you? We could get rid of some of our alcoholic beverages, because we do have a ton of those after we picked up so many. So, sure. We'll do it. Because it's an opportunity to do so. Okay. And you still have a little bit of coins remaining here, so we could even sell more to you. And we have a fair bit of pretty low-level foodstuffs. We have, what, over 200 water? It's probably pretty safe to sell that at this point. Just give you 100 waters. We could. Stay hydrated, bro. Don't ever go thirsty again. Okay, that's probably pretty good here. I think that's just about everything we need from you, because like I said, I'm not actually interested in getting our hair cut.
So long. Come see me again sometime.
Maybe? Okay. As for other stuffs...
What to do, I tell ye. He speaks to the gods.
He does.
That's true. Heard the same.
Now I'm sure we'll proceed to pick up more junk items, just like the ones that we were selling to that guy moments ago.
We'll stick together. It'll all work out.
And yes, it does seem as though that's the case. What we're really hoping for be more of the meteorite-like stuff. And the white wolf health that's decent at least. It's
You're
worth a
looking
bit.
ill. Let's nurse some mead at the tavern.
That other stuff is almost valueless. Okay, what else? Anything in here? That's locked. Still got the people punching each other over here. I do assume this is one of the groups for the fist fighting, though I think that was a level 30 quest. First person we find in is probably not level 30, but we might want to hold off a bit before we start doing that stuff. I think let's check out the... Oh, my controller's still vibrating when I go past here. Did we miss some important quest item over here? Don't think so, because this is Yennefer's room. But over here we saw was the actual tavern. And controller vibrating, but again, is there actually anything here? I don't think so. So let's chat some people up over here.
Fancy the ballad of Gudrun Rustbeard or the saga of the Frostman?
I don't know. Don't have a strong preference. Go with whatever you like.
Decent folk live here.
Picture? He feels nothing. Nothing at all.
Will you order a year for the view?
This tiny little room here? Oh, dear. Okay, well, let's take a look at what may be the butcher's room. It would seem... Oh, actually, this is... Let us outdoors. Okay. Didn't really realize that at first. Where is the door for us to get back in? Because I would like to do that. Okay. Let us speak to the actual innkeeper, because you may be able to play this at Gwent's and or sell us Gwent cards. You are, in theory, not the captive. Seems like you're right on top of us. Is it you? Skelliger? You. Jonas the innkeeper.
Greetings. I'm Geralt.
Hello, Jonas.
The Witcher known as the White Wolf, I know. They tell stories about you every day round here. Looking for an open seat at the table?
I'll be fine. Just wanted to talk.
Okay, so we can play like Gwent. Apparently we heard that. Or we could just, let's just lead off with a nice and simple, I like it here.
Gotta say, I like the place.
I should hope so. Found it a ruin when I came here from Undvik. Gulls shitting into the tankards through the gaps in the thatch. I bought the hut, rolled up my sleeves, and made a proper alehouse out of it.
Well done.
Why'd you call it the new port?
This is the new port.
Owned the old port on Undvik. Few
I assume that was actually,
customers come here
a
evenings
port.
to reminisce about the old times.
Okay. So that explains this part.
Heard Hjalmar came here to gather men for his expedition.
Aye, he did. Such spirit. Stormed in, swept the bowls off the table, jumped atop of it and cried, I'm sailing off to seek glory. Who's with me? Who wants to cut off that bloody
I'm sailing away.
giant's head?
Guess that was enough to recruit a longboat full of men.
They carried him out on their shoulders, yelling all the while, we'll win back the forge, string that giant up by his
Ooh,
gizzards.
nice bear. But also come sail away with me.
Should have seen it, Witcher. Brought tears to my eyes.
Oh, okay. Seems he's pretty popular then.
Hjalmar seems popular around here.
He is Craxel.
Oh,
Clever lad. Put together a fine crew. Hardy drinkers and warriors both.
but
By the time
most
Jay
importantly,
pieced
the
together
former.
tables and benches after hosting them. The Undvik lads he took on. No spring minnows either. In fact, was a clan Torderach man gave Hjalmar the idea for the expedition. The shipwright, what's his name? Viggy. That's him. Hoped to earn a new by name, the Fearless. Till now they'd call him the Loon.
Okay, so that might be another person we could potentially look out for. Someone who supposedly was the person who gave Hjalmar that idea. What about a forge, though?
They wanted to take back a forge? What's that about?
Never heard the Undvikers forged the best armor in these isles?
Nope.
Their swordsmiths are nothing to sneeze at either.
Because we made our blades like the dwarves forged their sails.
Soft layered core fitted with a hard steel coating.
How do you know? That's a clan Todorok secret.
That's pretty
Friends
general
who were
stuff.
dwarves.
Mayhaps you do.
Apparently
But
it's
the
top
horror
secret.
from the minds of Undvik, why, not even... Well, no one's got it. That's that.
You just give us the secret sauce? I think you might have. As for the general plans, though, can you give us a little bit more inside information?
Hjalmar must have had a plan. Tell me about it.
Plans? Ha! They didn't even know where to look for this giant.
Oh, that's a
As I
start.
recall, Viggy wanted to cross a frozen lake and scale the mountains.
They say the giant came from there. Awoken by the frost that gripped the land around the tower.
Took a harsh winter. Suited that man-eater perfectly. It can only get worse. Even the gods... Well,
Another one don't believe Ragnarok is nigh. You'll see. All of yous.
Ragnarok? I mean, it says Ragnarok here, but it sounded like you said Ragnarok. Like the doomsday type thing. Apocalypse of sorts. Alright. That appears
So
to be it
long.
on that
Glad to
topic,
be of
though.
service. If you need to know more about
You still wanna
Undvik
play
or
with
the
Gwent, though.
giant, ask Axel. Or that one over there. Or Anter.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, we can do that, yes, but I would perhaps like to just settle things with you first. Let's see if you have any Gwent's
Smells so
cards
delicious.
first. That you do, and then we'll play you at Gwent. Let's see, what do you have? We'll take all this, but, ooh, yeah, if you have monsters cards, we are very low on those. Our monster deck is pretty horrendous at this point. So, Earth Elemental, just a 6 strength card. I mean, honestly, we could use some of those on the monster side. It is horrendous at this point in time, our monster deck. Eredin Bria Glass. Oh, he's a leader. Okay. King of the Wild Hunt doubles the strength of all your close combat units. Okay, so it's basically the Commander's Horn for the close combat row rather than Siege row, which is what we've typically been using with Northern Realms. Sure. Scorch. Neutral. Discard after playing. Kills the strongest card. Oh, yeah. We've seen plenty of Scorches. We only have one of them at the moment, though, I think, so picking up another one could be good. It's a little bit of a mixed bag. You don't necessarily know if you're going to end up scorching yourself or your opponent, but interesting to have no less. Ooh, the botchling. 4 strength, close combat doesn't look like it does anything else special, though. I mean, still, we'll take it. Okay. That means you have a fair amount of coins here, so we could potentially try to sell things to you. We did just sell most of our junk food items to the previous trader guy, so might not mean that I mean, we still have a bunch of food here, right? So certainly could sell things to you if we absolutely felt that we wanted to, but I don't think that's urgent at this point in time. So yeah, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. And I don't think that affects what we're looking to do with our actual deck setup for when we play here, because I'm guessing we're still going to want to use Northern Realms.
Actually kinda in the mood for cards. Care for a round of Gwent?
I'm always in the mood for Gwent.
That is, what, maybe the first person who's talked to us about playing us at Gwent in the past, I don't know, like 10 people we faced, outside of the people who are like specifically our close pals. But most of the time, people just give us the weird smile and nod, right? Okay, so I know we were saying how we did just pick up some monster cards, yes, but I do still think that Northern Realms is the way to go. Could potentially throw in the second Scorch that we just picked up, but it has been... It makes you a little bit nervous whenever you pick up the Scorch, because it can be fantastic in the right circumstances, but it can also be actually detrimental to you in the worst circumstances, so I feel like you want to limit how many of those you have. And the other thing is, I feel like although Dandelion is a pretty special card in that he can double the melee row, making him potentially one of the strongest melee units, we just don't have a lot going on in the melee row, so if we were to get rid of a card, I feel like it might be him. Though, do we want to make room for the second Scorch? Let's try it. I'm going to get rid of Dandelion, which I think under other circumstances with a different type of deck could be fantastic, but we just aren't doing a lot in our melee row. So doubling the melee row with 0, in some cases, other cards in it means he's just a 2-strength card, making him our weakest card. That's why I think it's potentially worth getting rid of him here, and then the Scorch is here. So it's a higher risk setup here, I think. It can potentially be better, but it can also be worse. Oh, we need more units, though, so we can't... okay, in that case, get rid of the Scorch, bring back Dandelion. We'll stick with this for now. If we do find other reasonably strong units to replace Dandelion, then I think that might not be a bad idea. Like, even bringing back Dragon Hunters in his place. Possibly? Possibly. We do have another decoy as well. That can be good, but that's another one where, I mean, you can probably go a little bit more aggressive with that, but let's get this one started here. You are monsters, which I think is fitting, given how we saw you were selling a bunch of monsters cards, so that makes sense. We have 2 spies, that's great. A melee nerf. Both of the spies who would be playing are in the melee rows, that sounds good. Then, other than that, a bunch of siege, or at least a reasonable amount of siege, which is also where we want to be having cards, because we can, of course, double the siege row. And then hero in the melee row, that's fine, because it's a hero, so he won't be affected by the melee nerf. And similar story with Philippa, though she'll be in the range row. So this looks pretty solid. Not sure we need to change anything here, dare I say. I mean, maybe you could argue getting rid of Biting Frost because we don't necessarily know what row our opponent is going to play cards in. Though it seems like, I mean, if it's any indication, what we were seeing based on the cards we were having the option to buy from this guy, almost all of them were in the melee row, so maybe that's probably reading into that too much. Let's see, we go first. Let's lead off with our spy, or spies, plural. That means you have the strongest card out there now. We drew into another decoy, so we could steal a spy, or 2 spies if you were to play some. Okay, there's a big muster. So that draws, or brings cards from either your deck or your hand. You also have muster. And think all of those came from your deck, because you should have started with 10 cards. You played one on that turn there. That means that was actually a huge play for you. If the muster just triggers all the cards in your hands, it basically just means you're playing a bunch of cards from your hand in one turn, but it doesn't actually make it any stronger than it would be over the course of the entire round. But, so in that case, it would be bad, or at least nothing special. But, no, that means that was legitimately a one-card play that was worth, what, 4, 8, 12, 16, 21? That's pretty crazy. That's really good. All the more reason for us to have a melee nerf, though. So yes, in that case, definitely a good thing that we picked that up. Let's throw in another spy here. I feel like there's a decent chance our opponent might pass after this because they have a 30-0 lead right now. And we drew into a couple of siege experts. That's not bad. So we do have a lot of other siege stuff. So when we do choose to go with more muster, again for the melee row, I mean, I feel like on this occasion, it's really tempting to drop the melee nerf, yes, because that would reduce their number by a ton. But at the same time, I also feel like they clearly invested a lot in this round here, playing some pretty great muster cards. But, you know, if we have 0 strength on our side, all they needed was 1 strength. They didn't need all 42 here. So, might be a decent option for us to pass and then stick with our big card advantage in rounds 2 and 3 and also know that they played some of their best cards already. That might not be a bad idea, because if we were to use our melee nerf, that would mean all these would get dropped down to 1 strength, but you still have so many cards in here that, I mean, you get a lot lower, yes, but you still have, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 strength? I mean, that is still, we could tie you by just playing 1 hero immediately after that. So I do think that maybe it is still worth doing this here. Let's give it a shot, because it's just so efficient. And it is possible for us to catch up very quickly. I want to see, yeah, how you respond to that. We could tie you by playing 1 hero. We could surpass you by playing a hero plus 1 other thing. I am looking at Death Mold here, and although you're 6 strength, which doesn't really fit into the 10 strength that we need very well, you're kind of a throwaway card in many ways, because you're not a member of the siege row that we're looking to double. You're not a hero. So I'm thinking we throw in one of the heroes here, and then we probably have Death Mold be the difference maker. Because, sure, the siege experts, those are our lowest strength options, but remember, they're giving +1 to all of our other siege cards, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other siege cards. So, in truth, these have 6 strength. They're just as high as Death Mold, and they're also in a row that's going to get doubled, so they're actually twice as good as Death Mold. So, for that reason, I think Death Mold's actually our weakest card in our hand right now. Let's go Philippa. That gets us tied. We could pass here, and I think that, knocks us both down one of our red pegs, if you will. But I think that it is probably still best for us to take this opportunity to guarantee that we win this round. And we're still on a 2-card advantage here, and we will draw 1 more card when we win the round, because that's what Northern Realms does. So I think that's pretty strong round 1 in that case. Definitely did benefit from using that melee nerf there, and monsters do get to keep 1 card on the playing field there, so does mean that basically, you know, we drew another card, they kept a card out there. Our leader abilities, or our faction abilities, basically just canceled each other out in many ways. The card that we drew into was a range nerf, so good thing that we played Death Mold in the previous round, so we no longer have any cards that would get affected by that. So that's good. I'm thinking, let's lead off. Well, we know that our opponent needs to win this round, right? So they're going to play aggressively. I think in that case, let's lead off with the Siege Expert, because it's not going to be Scorchable, it's not going to be the highest unit out there. It's a way to just tease out a little bit of strength first, and then we want our opponent to invest a whole bunch in this round here and overcommit. And then worst comes to worst, we could decoy out and bring you back. Okay, your leader ability does what? It doubles the melee row. I mean, that would have been... could have been good in the previous round. I mean, we did nerf the melee row, but still, if you had doubled it, that would have made it a fair bit more difficult for us to beat you there. I suppose we could have just played our other hero and get an immediate 10 strength out of that, so maybe that still wouldn't have worked that well. Let's see. So, yeah, that is good to get that out, though, because that theoretically could be one of your strongest remaining abilities. Do we play another one of you? I think we do. So we've basically established that these are worth exactly the same amount as any of these other 6 strength siege row cards. It's just that these guys are going to be, for sure, lower than this one here. I suppose even these guys would be lower as well. What do you have remaining? Commander's Horn? Siege row? Okay, that's a bit odd when you don't have any siege cards at all at the moment. So, what I'm wondering is... I mean, ideally what we would do is we'd bide our time long enough that if our opponent has any spies, we'd swipe them with our decoys. But, obviously we don't see any right now, and we'd kind of like to be passing soon. So, tell you what, I think we still pass here. It does mean that we potentially end up... Well, no, let's bring one of these siege experts back with a decoy, and then depending on how our opponent responds, we may bring back the other one with our next turn, or we may not. So what I was hoping was that you would not play any stronger cards, and you have now played stronger cards, because remember that Monster's special ability is that they will keep one card from one round to the next on the playing field. So I was hoping that you would keep the Bruxa out there, because that was just 4 strength when it's not getting boosted by the Commander's Horn, which isn't so bad. That would be better to have this one stick around than, say, having one of the Crones stick around when they start with 6 strength. That being said, we did get you to play another one of your muster cards, which is one of your stronger cards, and in a round that we are not really intending to win, so in that way we did succeed in getting you to overcommit in a way. So that's not bad. It's not necessarily what I was looking for, but it may actually be better that things go that way. Let's, in that case, I think, yes, bring back our other siege expert, just make sure that we have the maximum amount of strength for round 3, and if they want to play additional cards, that'd be great. Yeah, sure thing. Getting doubled doesn't really matter, because we are now going to pass, and it does mean that we've now made it so that we can't steal any spies, but I mean, we would have been waiting around for a long time throwing away cards if we had truly waited for that to happen. I didn't want to play Gauntlet Natalis in this round because he is our one unit that is not in the siege row. So if our opponent does have a siege nerf, I want to make sure we at least have something that would be unaffected by that in the last round. We'll pass here. I mean, we're hoping that the Bruxa is the one that sticks around in the next round, but that's of course not guaranteed. If our opponent does have any spies, this would have been the time to play them. They didn't play any, so I think we did luck out there. Oh, and it was the Bruxa, so we lucked out for that one as well. Okay, so they go first. And well, they have a range nerf. Well, okay, so maybe this one isn't going to do much for us. We could deliberately play it and just deliberately bide our time, because what we might want to do here is make a point of playing weak enough cards that they aren't going to be scorchable and our opponent can't do anything to mess with our setup here. And then because we have more cards than our opponent, once our opponent has played all their cards, they can't do anything else after that. So then that's when we go and play all of our cards and there's no way for our opponent to counter us anymore. So the one downside of playing this here would be our opponent may immediately follow up with a Clear Skies and remove the weather effects, including this one here, and then there wouldn't actually be any range nerfs, but I'm not too concerned about that. I don't think that's actually going to be a big deal. That's a melee card. Sure. Does seem like you're 90% melee cards and 10% siege. So let's lead off with another small melee card, or small siege card here. Again, trying not to get scorched. And we'll have you go next, and there is the clear weather. So yes, that does mean that now there definitely will not be any weather effects in the range row unless they have another one that they want to play themselves, but They only have 1 card remaining, so I think we have bided our time successfully here. Let's see what that last card is. It's something they don't want. It might have been a Scorch, in which case we succeeded in making sure that we waited to play our strongest cards. So now they can't do anything, now that they've passed, and that means we can go crazy. That was the objective, and we've already passed them, but we will proceed to BM and play all of our units and our hero and double everything in the siege row because we can, and annihilate you. Like that. Okay. Browns, and then card. Grave Tag. That looks like that's red, so that is likely a monster card, which, again, makes sense given how you were playing monsters and you were selling us a bunch of monster cards. Grave Tag, you say. How good is it? Over here. 5 strength unit in the range row. I mean, again, we kind of just need units. Oh, the botchling looks absolutely disgusting. Okay, so I mean, it's an okay card that wouldn't make it into our deck for Northern Realms. Oh, I mean, that's our strongest deck thus far, but just to further reinforce that, yes, definitely monsters still way behind Northern Realms, and probably also Nilfgaard, I think, is our next best, maybe Scoia'tael. Monsters is certainly in last, though. I think you were one of the other people we were supposed to talk about the, or Croc's son.
What do you want?
I'm looking for people from Unvik.
They're dead.
See now, I heard many survived.
There's a big frost that hit there. Is that what we're saying killed everyone?
You there when the giant attacked?
And the giant?
Aye, I was.
Is that awoken?
One of the Jarl's personal guards. I failed him. Led no credence to what the priestesses said, that we'd be punished for robbing the earth of iron, forging it into blades that men kill one another with, that Freya would punish us. Perhaps they spoke the truth.
Jarl of Unvik. How did he die? Yeah, I mean, so you're beating yourself up because you extracted ore that you used to create weapons that were then used to kill people. I mean, if that's something that you're really concerned about, then I think there are a lot more people who should also be concerned about that stuff, because there are a lot of people who do that.
Jarl of Unvik. Tell me about his death.
Jarl Harald Houndsnout. His whole crew
What a name.
died that night. Wilmar, Wilfred, and Wilhelm.
Also, what names?
I reached them too late. Saw the giant dash Wilmar against a rock. He fell right beside me. All his bones broke, wriggling like a salmon on the sand.
Harold was
Lovely.
dead by then.
What? No, Jarl fought like a bear. Slicing and dodging and hollering, then slicing again. Couldn't save himself though.
Okay, so yeah, how did you survive in that case?
How did you manage to survive?
First I heard the giant growl to those flying sirens. Damn me if he weren't giving them orders.
Under stress, men see all kinds of things.
I know what
Yeah, I don't
saw.
think they can communicate
Rushed
to one
out the
another,
yard,
but
one of the
who
cunts
knows?
sunk her talons in me, lifting me up, tried to take me to their nest, pecked me apart, I reckon. But I broke loose of her grip, plummeted from quite a height, crashed hard, couldn't stand. Last thing I saw, swarm of sirens swooping down on the Jarl, thrashing round him. He yipped, he yelped, he screamed, he hollered. Then silence. The men escorting
that's
the
pretty
women
rough.
and the children to the ships took my unconscious flesh away, brought me to Ard Skellig.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. Okay, thanks for sharing.
I should go.
For story time.
Yeah.
Oh, sounds like you have either other information that you were withholding, or that we are about to get ambushed by someone and beat to a pulp. I was like, yeah, watch yourself. Okay, there's someone else in here as well, though, that we were supposed to speak to. That was one of the guys. I thought there was one other. I mean, if we actually activated this quest, that'd probably help us. But where's the fun in that, right?
Step
You?
aside.
Probably, because you have a name, would be my guess.
I'm looking for men from Undvik.
Yes.
Yavors from the Isle, and I once cut those waters with nary a waste. Could trace you the shoreline in my sleep. A lovely excursion, if not for the bloody sirens.
I'm the one to ask. Me your excellent Tardarok. He's over there. What can a bloke from Ard Skellig know about Undvik?
Heard you trilling a different tune when Hjalmar was gathering his crew. Your love for the Ancrate fade that quick.
Okay. Selectively choosing when to admit you're from Undvik. So, yeah, but then why didn't you opt to go with Hjalmar?
Yalvar's from there, or so he claims, and you seem to know these waters. Why didn't you sail with Hjalmar?
Because that kind of expedition needs a true leader. And a whelp looking to collect bumps on his skull could only be its doom. Once
You'd rather sit in your arse nose in the air, you Zeracanian princess. Brave lad comes along, you sail with him. I'd have sailed with Hjalmar if only those seahorses hadn't banjaxed my knee. Would have sailed instead of sharing a table with a grumpy barnacle like you.
Oh, he called you a grumpy barnacle.
Aboard, Crack's daughter included.
Okay, but then sirens?
You mentioned sirens. Many on Undvik?
So many. More on the other isles.
Bollocks.
Once they attacked Lars and me when we were fishing. Before we could drive him off, they put Lars in the water and scratched me up so bad that... Oi!
Drive away the sirens? How's that work?
Ha! Plain to see you're no islander.
You got me.
Horn walls horn. One toot, and they plow and scurry off so quick the waves rock your boat.
Okay. It does sound like maybe you guys are the ones who could actually take us to Undvik, though I'm not necessarily sure we want to do that right now, because that, of course, is an entirely different island, and we are only just scratching the surface of Ard Skellig here, and this is the biggest island, so I think we still have a lot of things to do here. And similarly to what we did with Velen/Novigrad, my preference would probably be to take it one island at a time and just guarantee that we've done everything that we can do on Ard Skellig before we start moving over to the other islands. Though because, at least for Ard Skellig in particular, since it's so much bigger than the other islands, maybe we'd make an exception for that one and just do some things here and then start going to the other smaller islands. But, yeah, either way, I think there are definitely still things we want to do around here before we head over to Undvik. So, not sure if, as soon as we say this, we immediately get taken off. Probably not, but just to play it safe, let's back out of this conversation here.
Nice talking to you. By the time I was
And I'm
on my
assuming we'll
way.
be able to come back
So
to these
long.
guys on a later occasion when we do actually want to go over there.